Hello YouTube, it's Mr. Magz here, and I have some Pokemon problems. Today I'll be discussing the idea of GameStop exclusive legendary events. Now, a few weeks ago, the official Pokemon YouTube channel announced that 2018 will be the year of the legendary, and essentially throughout the year they'll be distributing every single legendary into the 7th gen games. And I think the way it works is that, let's just say you're playing Ultra Sun. Through the Ultra Wormholes, you can get Groudon, but you can't get Kyogre, and vice versa for Ultra Moon. So, in order to get both Groudon and Kyogre in your games, if you're playing Ultra Sun, you can then download Kyogre from this event, and in Ultra Moon, you can download Kyogre, or Groudon, yeah. And this makes it easy for you to get all the legendaries, because certain ones you can only get if you have certain legendaries on your team. Like following that same example, you can only get Rayquaza if you have both Groudon and Kyogre on your team. So now it makes it easier to get all of them on one save file. That's actually kind of exciting. Now, I haven't really played Ultra Sun all that much, especially since I got my Switch shortly after I got the new Ultra Sun. But, I thought, I might turn it on and download these Pokemon. I've never been the biggest collector of stuff, but if they're readily available, why not just go for it? But then I heard that these will be GameStop exclusive distributions. And this just got me to think, why in the day and age of online digital distribution, of online patches, online DLC, why does Pokemon consistently still do these GameStop events? And what makes it even weirder is that they don't exclusively do the GameStop events. I think Magearna was an online thing when Sun and Moon came out. Also, the Torchic for X and Y was online. The Rockruff that came with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon was an online distribution. But for some reason, when it comes to most legendaries, it's only GameStop events. But like I said, it's not only GameStop events, because Magearna and I think Diancie in 6th Gen was also only we're also only through online distribution, not GameStop. So why are some legendaries online distribution, but others GameStop distributions? It just doesn't make sense to me. And this also kind of got me thinking, because of the way these legendaries are distributed, it kind of takes away from what you can do with these legendaries. Because more and more throughout the generations, these legendaries have seemingly become more and more relevant in the story themselves. Like in X and Y, it was more or less hinted that Volcanion was essentially causing the power outages that were happening early on in the game in Luminous City. Those interdimensional space portals that that legendaries came out of in Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire were all but confirmed to be caused by Hoopa. Yet in both these games, you couldn't get them naturally. You had to get them through a GameStop distribution. And what makes it even crazier is that even though nowadays these legendaries are becoming more and more influential in the story, these Pokemon don't really interact with the universe at all of these games once they're actually put into your game. Which is weird, because back in 3rd and 4th and even kind of 5th gen, this was commonplace. It was pretty commonplace for these legendaries that you got from these GameStop distributions. Which even in 4th gen, when you still had Wi-Fi, so I don't know why they had GameStop distributions even going as far back as 4th gen. 3rd gen it made sense, because you had to go somewhere in order for them to actually tamper with the game itself. But you just you put your Diamond cartridge in and just went local Wi-Fi or whatever and got it from GameStop. You didn't have to talk to a manager or anything. But regardless, back on track. these Pokemon actually interacted with the world around you. Like when you got the Darkrai event, you didn't just get Darkrai. You went to GameStop. You got some item, I think, and that unlocked the quest to go into the kid's nightmare and then catch Darkrai from there. Same thing with Arceus, which I don't think this item ever actually was distributed state-wise, but I know in Japan you had to go to the Pokemon Center stores and download the Azure Flute, which allowed you to then go capture Arceus in Heart Gold Soul Silver. You got that special Celebi that you can then transfer to Black and White to get a Zorua, I think. But in Heart Gold Soul Silver, the Celebi allowed you to go back in time and challenge Giovanni again. Even though you did just get the Celebi straight up, you still had an event that went along with it in game. It wasn't the event itself wasn't just getting the Pokemon. And I think even in third gen, you got, I don't remember what item it was, but you got some item or you got something that unlocked a new area for you to go capture Deoxys, and you had to do this little puzzle in order to get them. Same thing with Shaman. You got I think maybe you got the little flower thing for him, and then you're able to go to the area and catch Shaman. There are many more examples like this where getting Pokemon in game actually caused an event to happen. To a lesser extent, even Keldeo in Black and White 2, you got him, and then if you had Keldeo and then the other three Musketeers, I guess, you went to a special tree in one of the forests, you're able to change his form. It's something. It's not quite as spectacular as fighting Giovanni again, but again, it's something. And ever since then, Keldeo, I feel, was the last one to really do this. Genesect didn't really add much. You didn't really get any backstory into how Genesect was made or how exactly this ancient Pokemon being brought into the new world really affects anything. Meloetta, I don't like Meloetta. It's just kind of there. And because Meloetta exists, there now has to be someone in every single region who can teach it Relic Song. I don't know why I can't just learn Relic Song for anyway, but whatever. Victini actually did have a thing. I think that actually was a Wi-Fi event. I remember that much. Victini randomly was a Wi-Fi event. Yeah, these others I just mentioned, I'm pretty sure almost all of them were GameStop events. So Victini, you got this ticket to then go get on a boat to I think Victory Tower or something like that to go on a little quest to fight Team Plasma and then capture Victini. That's something. It's actually a little, a quest to get them. And pretty much every other one since Keldeo has done nothing like that. Diancie didn't do anything. There was nothing. They didn't delve at all into the connection between Diancie and Carbink. Like I said, Hoopa, even though he was pretty prominent in an indirect way in the Elmer Kirby Alpha Sapphire story, he just didn't do anything. I think once you got there was someone who was looking for Hoopa, and then if you talk to him, they'll give you his item that allows him to become his different form. Same thing with Volcanion. He just kind of showed up in the game. Nothing really happened. And one of my least favorites was Magearna. Magearna is said to essentially be the first Pokeball, and there's some special power inside of it, but that's just never been explained upon. That you just got it just at a Pokemon Center, or maybe it was at some like relic shop you had to go find in one of the early cities. You talk to a guy and he's like, "Oh, I found this thing," and then gives it to you. Here's Magearna. There's no backstory about how it was made or its relevance to the Pokeball. There's nothing about the power it holds inside of it or anything. It's just, here you go. Here's Magearna. That just bugs me so much. And then in Ultra Sun and Moon, there's this random new mythical Pokemon called Zeraoa. I think that's what it's called, Zeraoa, something like that. It's an electric. It's a thing that looks like it should be electric fighting, but it's just electric. um, and I have no idea why this thing exists. There's nothing that it could interact with the story, considering no other mythical, legendary, or event Pokemon has really interacted with anything lately. It doesn't really serve much purpose, like balance wise, because it's just another fast physical electric type. It doesn't really learn any moves that are that interesting. It just kind of exists. And it doesn't even exist yet because probably in a year or so we're going to have to go to GameStop to get it. And that brings back to the GameStop event. Why is Nintendo slash Pokemon Company so insistent on making certain legendaries and mythical Pokemon only GameStop exclusive, especially since some regions don't even have GameStops, or some towns just don't have GameStops? When I was somewhat invested into the GameStop events, I I had to travel over half an hour just to go to my nearest GameStop, and that was a pain, admittedly. So yeah, I I just don't understand why they keep doing this, and maybe it's because they're not super readily available for everyone. That's why these Pokemon haven't really made an impact in the story lately. But even that doesn't make sense because, like I said, Magearna and Diancie were Wi-Fi events. So it would make perfect sense for them to interact somehow, since anyone who has Wi-Fi, which is most people nowadays, can easily get them and use them. I just, I don't know. I just really wish that there was some effort put into these types of distributions. There was some effort that was put um into what these Pokemon do. And it's not like they couldn't just patch something in later. If you're requiring people to download these Pokemon through digital distribution, like they should anyway, it makes sense that they could just download a patch to allow that Pokemon to do something in game. Like with Heart Gold Soul Silver, they just released it, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I guess that little side quest was already coded in the game. Bringing Celebi to Ilex Forest just unlocked it. Why don't just do something similar to that? Why not have Diancie, I don't know, unlock something in one of the caves, or have Diancie somehow or have Volcarona somehow connected to that power plant you couldn't actually go to in X and Y? Just stuff like that. It would just make these distributions a lot more worthwhile to go to if you do insist on them being GameStop events. Because I haven't seen a GameStop event worthwhile since that Celebi one, honestly. Is everyone since then I either don't care about, or even if I did even have a slight interest in, they don't do anything. So yeah, it at the very least allow us to actually fight these Pokemon in order to catch them, and then make it so that, just like any other legendary, once you beat the Elite Four again, you can go try again. I'm pretty sure that's how they've done it since, I think, 5th gen. Just do something like that. I don't feel like that's too much to ask for. At least have some interactivity with these distributions. But I honestly don't really see them doing that anytime soon, as much as I would like them to, because it's working for them so far. People are still doing them. So I just want Pokemon Company to at least put a little more effort into this kind of stuff. So yeah, what do you guys think of all this? Have you ever had any issues with GameStop events? Do you feel like they should just be exclusively Wi-Fi events like I do? What has been your favorite event Pokemon event in game? Mine personally is obviously the Celebi one. Just because fighting Giovanni again, seeing Silver's story and why he became like the rival bad guy person, I feel like that's just probably the most interesting thing. Might be the most interesting thing story wise Pokemon has really ever done, in my opinion. So yeah, leave all comments and all that down below. Like to have a discussion going, and I'll see you.